but I don't know, it's taken my life in a very different direction. And it's the one thing it has done is it's given me a lot of faith in myself. Um, you'll probably go with me on this one. When you come out of a very bad relationship, you feel like crap. You really do.
Yeah.
You are your head ain't working properly. Your heart's in bits, and suddenly you find something that just gives you that drive and gives you that confidence back. I had two things that kicked in after my crappy divorce. One of them was Angel. I met her and my life changed completely. The second one was the music. And if it wasn't for my Angel, I wouldn't have got into the music because the first song I wrote was about her.
Yes.
And it just all suddenly tied together. And look at me now,
Yeah.
talking to, DJ Dirty Diamonds on Unleashed Radio. I never, if you'd spoken to me 6, 7 years ago and said, oh, you'll be talking to a DJ on an internet radio station about your music, I would have just gone, yeah, right, whatever,
Yeah.
as if. And it's happened. And I'm just loving every minute of it. And I'm just so thankful for all those lovely people out there that listen to my stuff and give me the incentive to keep going.
Yeah. That is so cool. I was just trying to think. I mean, I know where we met, but I'm trying to figure out how. And I just think that networking out there is just absolutely great. I mean, not only with just people such as myself, but like you mentioned, with bands too. I mean, it's just funny how things just go around in a circle. Like I know so and so, and I know this band, but yet this band knows this band, and everybody's working with each other, helping each other out, referring each other to other people and stuff. I mean, like Shaun from Hunting Heather is in here tonight, listening to you and stuff, and I think that's really cool. When people work together instead of against each other, just kind of help each other out, and it's so much different nowadays, and it's just amazing how big the circle is with everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a small world. Everybody knows everybody. I mean, if you go to the sites and you click on mutual friends, you would be amazed at how many people everybody has in common with each other.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a quote in one of the newer Bon Jovi songs about the world being flat, and yeah, physically the world is circular, but it's now very flat and very small, and that's not because of distance. That's because of the ability of its technology, and I mean, I know, well, Facebook has its bad moments, has its good moments, but things like Facebook, things like Twitter. I mean, Twitter is funnily enough, is causing, what's the word I'm looking for? Causing dialogue in this country at the moment. We have a very sad, litigious society here in the UK. In some respects, I think our litigation in the UK is even worse than some of the litigation that goes on in the US right now.
Hmm.
At least I think in the US, I think litigation at least is justified some of the time. It might not be, but the problem we've got in the UK is we've got a lot of very rich people that are basically putting a lot of these injunctions out there now, these super injunctions to say, sorry, you're not allowed to report on the affair I've just had with my secretary because I'm a person that's got loads of money and I'm in a position of power and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that going on. And what happened recently on Twitter was a lot of these people got named who had these super injunctions and why they had these super injunctions. Now, all these rich people went absolutely ballistic, saying, oh, Twitter should be banned or regulated or controlled. And it's quite funny, one of the people that's been mentioned on Twitter has now tried to sue Twitter in the US. Unfortunately, from a legal standpoint, it can't be done.
Yeah.
Someone in the UK is not allowed to sue someone in the US for libel. Legally, it's not allowed to happen.
Wow.
So basically, Twitter don't even have to respond.
Yeah.
They can just say, bye. And I actually think, I'm sorry, I don't care what position you're in, what money you've got, whoever you are, if the press are going to report on the fact that you've had an affair, it's real simple, isn't it? If you don't want to be reported about, don't do it.
Yeah.
It's that easy. It is that easy. I've seen so many friends and so many close people that, I know that have been through absolute hell because of the betrayals of people that they thought loved them. And it's just crazy. It's just really, really crazy. And I don't care what anybody says. There's an example, and I always quote this example to people. There were two people being interviewed on a show. I think it was something like Letterman or Jay Leno or someone like that. And basically, those two people that were being interviewed were John Bon Jovi and Madonna.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, there was I can't remember what the question was, but it was something along the lines of, don't you find the paparazzi intrusive in your normal day-to-day life? And Madonna was bitching and moaning, saying, oh, yeah, the press are always taking pictures of my children, and it really drives me nuts, blah, blah, blah. And John Bon Jovi piped up, he said, hey, I can take my kids to school every day, and nobody bats an eyelid. And he said, do you know why? Because I don't walk them down all these red carpets all the time. I don't drag them out in public all the time. I make sure that they live just a normal life.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure, he said, their dad's a rock star. Hey, their dad is, an old crinkly rocker who knows how to handle himself. He said, if you don't want the paparazzi sticking lenses in your face, don't give them the opportunity to do so.
Exactly. You know what? And you're right. And look how long he's been in the music business. He married his high school sweetheart. And now that you mention it, I have not seen anything about his kids at all. So that means he's doing a good job. And that's how it should be. I mean, then you've got these other, like Madonna, who's flashing everything everywhere and everything. Well, no wonder they're, chasing after her and stuff. But no, I agree with what John said, totally.
It drives me crazy, you get these people, they're bitching and complaining. I mean, how much money does Madonna make in a year? It's probably more than most song countries.
Yeah.
And yet she's bitching and moaning about a photographer sticking a lens in her face. Well, hey, sorry, babe. You've got all that money. Deal with it.
Well, yeah, you know what? I mean, it's part of the business. I mean, what did she think was going to happen when she became a famous pop star? Or whatever it is she is now. I think she did some movies too. But, I mean, they're normal people like us. They deserve some privacy and stuff. There's times to approach them and times not to. But they're going to be out there. There's going to be people taking pictures of them. It's a part of the career path that they chose. I mean, if they thought that they were going to go out there and be this mega superstar and make millions of dollars and not be recognized on the street, they're crazy. They're crazy because it's not going to happen. So.
Well, yeah, that's right. It's very, very much that way, isn't it? And it kind of, I don't know, it upsets me a lot when you get these people that are in positions of influence and power, really, and all they're doing is bitching about it.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, this is what you wanted. I mean, yeah, sure. I would absolutely love to hit the big time. I would love to get signed up to a label, at some point. But, I'm still going to regard my privacy as something that I want to keep.
Exactly.
I'll quite happily talk on here. I'll quite happily talk on Facebook and everything else. Mm-hmm. No problem. All the other guys do.
Yeah.
I mean, how many followers have Bon Jovi got now? 11 million on Facebook?
So, yeah.
That's a lot of people. It's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And you just have to sort of take it to another level where you manage something like that. And, I mean, the one thing I will say is somebody made a comment the other day about Bon Jovi saying he's more of a shrewd businessman than Steve Jobs of Apple is. And I must admit, I think he is.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is, and just looking at the way he's marketed the band. I mean, he's a businessman, at the end of the day. He's not just, front man of a band. I mean, if you get the chance, have a look at, there's a DVD that Bon Jovi released with the album The Circle. It's called When We Were Beautiful.
Okay.
And it's a fly-on-the-wall documentary about their Lost Highway tour and various other bits and pieces. And it's fascinating because you suddenly realise, one, how hard these guys work. You know, they work damn hard.
Yeah.
But the other thing is how focused John Bon Jovi is. David Bryant, the keyboards player, summed it up. He's one of these guys that has got a chip on his shoulder, not in a nasty way, but he's always trying to prove himself every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really spooky because I'm like that. I have to prove myself every day. I have to say to myself, right, okay, what are you going to do today, and how are you going to do it, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fantastic, and it's a brilliant documentary. Also, if you get the chance, though, buy the hardback book of the same name.
Okay.
If you like what I call coffee table books, with lots of glossy pictures of, you know, the band performing and behind-the-scenes shots, it was all done by a UK producer and photographer. I can't remember his name now for love nor money, but the guy who's taking the pictures of the band at the moment as well is a US-based photographer, a guy called Dave Bergman.
Okay.
Check out his work. He's worked damn hard. He started as a sports photographer, and I watched a documentary about him, how he worked up to getting pictures of all the rock bands, and then he got this gig with Bon Jovi, and he's been following them for the last 2 years.
Wow.
And the band love him so much, they just keep inviting him to all the gigs to take the photographs.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So,
but no, he kicks out some amazing photography. And do you know what was lovely? If you watch, it wasn't When We Were Beautiful, it was the documentary about David Bergman. There's a store in the US where you can literally take a bunch of photographs and they'll make them into a book for you.
oh yes. There's, I think, a couple different places that'll do that for you.
Yeah, well, that's what this. At the end of the last tour, they had a break, didn't they, before the new lot kicked off. David Bergman got them each member of the band, a book made with all the photographs and everything that he'd taken, but each book was individual to each band member. So it was all photographs of them and them on stage. And I thought, that's probably why they keep inviting him back, because he does little things like that, little thoughtful things like that. And that's the thing that I love about the people that I deal with now.
Wow.
Is the thoughtfulness, the care. I mean, there are people in the US, right? I've never met them before. I don't know them, socially or anything like that. The only way I know them is via the internet, via Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, Reverb Nation. And there are people out there that are plugging my music for me. And, I mean, there's one, actually, I don't know whether she's listening tonight. In fact, there's two people that spring to mind. One of them is a lovely lady called Monica Long, and the other one is a lovely lady called Kathy Renshaw. And they both heard my music, and for the first time after they heard it, they just kept plugging it and saying, hey, go listen to this, go listen to this. In fact, Monica is brilliant. She's put me in touch with a radio station in New York, who, funnily enough, are very close friends with John and Richie from Bon Jovi.
Oh, wow.
But, I've actually started talking to them, to the radio station, because of Monica. It's just, these people are so happy to share this information. And it helps me. It helps me get my music out there. And it's just wonderful.
That's awesome. Sean from Haunting Heather was saying, so no Shaun C. Bryant reality show anytime soon?
Nah, forget it. I hate reality shows.
Oh, jeez. I don't know. I keep teasing my family. I go, you know what? We're better than the Osbournes. We could have a good reality show. But
do you know what? I think most families could beat the Osbournes hand down. Most regular families probably could.
yeah.
Do you know what I'd love to do? If I got the opportunity to do so, it would be really nice to go on tour and do a fly-on-the-wall documentary about the tour. That would be nice.
Yes.
That's something
yes.
I'd like to do.
Yeah, you know what I do? I've got my phone. I've got it's a really cool little mini camcorder and everything, but I carry them with me everywhere, especially when I go to shows and stuff. Of course, I get permission first, but I go and I record everything.
Cheers, Di. Talk to you soon.
Alrighty, bye.